So hi, hello, what's up realists, what's good in sports, in life, on the internet. I'm Akeem Balaam with once again, another, I guess you could say, World Baseball Classic update. Just running through everything that has been going on because for some reason I have been unable to do day-by-day, game-by-game recaps of everything that has gone on in the Classic up to this point. I've already done two. So here's a third. The last time I've talked to you, we were going over what happened in the USA versus Italy game. At the time that I made that video, it was tied 2-2, and it was really in the middle of the ball game. I believe it was in the 5th inning or something like that the last time I made that video. But the United States wound up beating Italy by a final score of 6-2. The big hit was a big fly, a David Wright grand slam that put the USA over the top by the final score of 6-2. And really, it was something that Team USA really needed. I mean, prior to that, it looked like that the United States of America was setting themselves up for once again another disappointment, just as they had in the first game in the opener against Mexico when they had lost by a final score of 5-2. And there were a couple of things similar about that game as well as the Italy game. Mexico got up to a 2-0 lead on the United States early, so did Italy, but unlike versus Mexico, they wound up pulling it off as David Wright, once again with a big grand slam with that really, I guess, woke up Team USA and really started to, I guess they started to play a little bit more with a little bit more of a swagger as they went on to beat the Italians by a final score of 6-2, because that game, before that grand slam, it looked like a repeat of that Mexico game. So that grand salami by the New York Mets marquee player David Wright, just what the doctor ordered if you're pulling for the Stars and Stripes in the World Baseball Classic. On March 10th, Japan absolutely clobbered the Netherlands by a final score of 16-4. Four Japanese players wound up having 3 RBIs or more, including a grand slam of their own from Hayato Sakamoto. So that was his 4 RBI day for the day, as well as Seiichi Uchikawa, who also had 3 ribbies. Japan will be going to San Francisco to the semifinals. The champs look like the champs once again as expected. Venezuela got themselves a victory over Spain, 11-6. Miguel Cabrera had 3 RBIs to the win. He got his first home run of the tournament, and so did Kung Fu Panda Pablo Sandoval. He also got his first home run, but unfortunately it was a rather meaningless game in the grand scheme of things, considering that both Venezuela and Spain are going home. They are going fishing, as both teams were eliminated after playing in Pool D, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they both were in Pool D, definitely. So Venezuela and Spain, even though Venezuela will leave the World Baseball Classic with a victory, both are done. On to what happened with the United States and Canada. They won again. The U.S. won again over Canada, 9-4. to advance to the second round of WBC play, which will be emanating from Miami, Florida. And it was actually a pretty big game as well for the U.S. because they would have had to qualify for next World Baseball Classic, which is going to be in 2017. If they had lost to Canada, they would actually have to qualify for that World Baseball Classic if they had lost to Canada. But that did not happen, at least at the end. But it looked like for a while that it would. Canada had a 3-2 lead on the Stars and Stripes until the 8th inning, until the United States offense exploded for 7 runs in late innings, including 3 RBIs from each Adam Jones and Eric Hosmer. So the United States victorious. They are your Pool D champions, defeating Canada by a final score of 9-4. But Canada is not leaving empty-handed, as Michael Saunders of the Canadian team, he was named Pool D MVP. So a little consolation prize for the Canadians, for the Canucks, for the Maple Leafs, whatever you want to go ahead and call them. But Team Canada is certainly not going away empty-handed from the World Baseball Classic, as the Pool D MVP was indeed named Michael Saunders. So USA moving on to Miami to take on Puerto Rico. And speaking of los Puertorriqueñas, they lost to the Dominican Republic by a final score of 4-2. 3 more hits, including a home run from Robinson Cano. As John Sterling, the New York Yankee announcer, loves to say, Robbie Cano, don't you know? There's a reason why he was named Pool C MVP. He wound up batting .600 in pool play. Certainly a sign for Yankee fans that this is going to be another big year out of Robbie Cano. Certainly an exciting time for Team Dominican Republic. They won by a final score of 4-2 over Puerto Rico. And again, your Pool C MVP wound up being Robinson Cano. He's had himself a heck of a World Baseball Classic up to this point. Again, batting .600. Come again, as I like to say, .600. That'll certainly earn you MVP honors. And on to the second round. Japan is already in the semifinals, so you think Cuba would go ahead and join them. Actually, it was the Netherlands who got themselves an upset at Cuba by a final score of 7-6. They will be joining the Japanese team, well, the Dutch, in San Francisco, as Kylian Sams with a walk-off sacrifice fly, scoring Andrew Jones from third base, and the Dutch will be heading to San Francisco. The Cubans are going home. Netherlands upsetting Cuba by a final score of 7-6. They will be joining the Japanese in the semifinals. So that's what happened in the World Baseball Classic up to this point. The U.S. has advanced to the second round. The Netherlands and the Japanese are in the semifinals. They are going to San Francisco. Also, you got the Dominican Republic, you got Italy, and you got Puerto Rico as well in round 2 that will be emanating from Marlins Park in Miami. And it's actually going to be a rather interesting dichotomy, going down to Miami, because even though Miami is a city that's on American soil, you got to remember, there's a huge Latino American contingency, as there was in Phoenix, Arizona. There's a huge Cuban population, a huge Puerto Rican population in South Florida, just as there's a huge Mexican population in San Francisco. But there's also a huge Chinese population in San Francisco, so it would have been something if they were able to advance, but China was not able to get out of pool play, but that's another story for another time. But there's going to be, there's going to be that. There's going to be that. When I'm interested in seeing who most of the crowd at Marlins Park is going to be pulling for when the U.S. takes on Puerto Rico, because I found this out. I was reading Twitter one day, and it actually turned out that the attendance for the Canada-Mexico game, the huge game where that huge base brawl broke out between the two teams, that actually got more fans to Chase Field than the USA and Italy did. That is attributable to one thing and one thing only: the huge Mexican-American population that is in the state of Arizona, and it is only growing. That is going to be a very interesting dichotomy going down to Miami, when you have Puerto Rico playing in Miami, you have the Dominican Republic playing in Miami, and of course, you got the Stars and Stripes of Team USA playing down there. Who are most of the crowds going to be? Is it going to feel like a home field advantage for the U.S., or is it going to feel like a home field advantage for either the Dominican Republic, La República Dominicana, or is it going to be one for Puerto Rico? That will certainly be something to see as the World Baseball Classic moves on. But Italy will be facing the Dominican Republic. Puerto Rico will be taking on Team USA. Gio Gonzalez is going to go for the Stars and Stripes against Puerto Rico. So all that will certainly be exciting and entertaining to watch as the Classic continues to unfold. And also with Japan, the defending champs, as well as the Netherlands, advancing to the semifinals in San Francisco. So that's what's happened in the World Baseball Classic up to this point. Has it been entertaining? What has been your best moment so far? Who do you think is going to win? Is it going to be Japan? Is it going to be the Netherlands? Is it going to be Italy or the Dominican Republic or Puerto Rico or the U.S.? Rate, comment, react, reply, add, and subscribe. Look forward to reading your comments as always, because we're just a few guys and gals talking sports here on The Real Sports Talk. So until next time, once again, for Emily Groover at Section 215, for Tim, for Justin, I'm Akeem Balaam, offering you all the coverage for The Real Sports Talk of the World Baseball Classic. See y'all on the internet somewhere.